Welcome to the Heidi Thorne Show. I'm your host, Heidi Thorne, and in this podcast, I share my real-world self-publishing and small business experience with you. So let's get started with today's show. One of the questions that I get so often through my blog is how to self-publish custom card decks. We're not talking here about just putting a custom back on a standard playing card deck. Oh no, these are completely custom jobs. They want a custom front, a custom back, they want different sizes, they want special shapes. Now, I have to give them props for expanding their self-publishing universe and wanting to diversify into other products. However, a custom printed card deck is one of the most difficult and expensive printing jobs around. I used to be in the promotional products business, which was custom printed t-shirts, mugs, pens, and I also got a lot of questions there about these custom printed decks and other custom games. I applaud the creativity, but let's talk about what's involved here. One of the things that is different for self-publishing a custom card deck as opposed to a book or even a workbook or journal, which is another effort that I get a lot of questions on. Custom printed card decks, you almost have to start out by selecting your printer first. You're thinking, well, okay, I have this idea, I have this creative idea, and here's the way I want it to look and everything. But it may not be possible in printing reality or in financial reality. When you want to look for a company to do this, you want to look online. I have had author friends who have done projects like this, and they went with local printers, and I thought it was exorbitantly expensive. Somewhere in the range of maybe $10 a deck. There was almost no profit margin involved. So you really want to look around online because there are companies out there that do it. I can't personally recommend or endorse any of them, but there are some good ones. I would suggest, especially if you are in the United States, which most of my authors are, look for a printer that will print in the US. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting forever because it might be printed overseas and then it has to come back here. Yeah, you'll get the lower price, but there's going to be a lot of issues with that international custom production. As a promotional products person in the past, I have done that too. And I will tell you that I had one nightmare job that the supplier even called an Alka-Seltzer moment. And it was, of course, for an event. Oh, that was a horrible weekend. Okay, so try and keep it as local as possible. One of the other things you want to look for is that they will do custom decks both front and back. You also want to know if they do custom sizes. Some companies may just go with the standard card deck size. But if you're looking for something that's big cards, or maybe even little cards, you want to make sure that they can do it. Just realize, though, that as the customization goes up, so does the price. You also want to look for the minimum quantity. There are some companies that will do one deck by itself, it's going to be very expensive. And some of them have minimums that are low, maybe 25, maybe even less than that, maybe 10, maybe 100. You want to look at the minimum because that's going to be multiplied by the price per deck, and the cost just escalates dramatically. Dramatically. One of the other things that makes it so expensive is that every card could be different. And this is particularly the case I see with authors who have maybe a spiritual or motivational or inspirational deck. They want people to be able to draw a new card for the day with a special message on it. So that means that every card is different. That's where the expense comes in. You also want to look for quality, and you should get a sample from the printer before you order. A lot of them will send that out to you. There may be a fee to get that sample, but it's worth every penny because you want to see if this is the right quality for your particular product. One of the other things you want to think about is packaging. Now, most authors don't think about this because they think in book reality. They think in print-on-demand reality. So packaging is completely out of their mental framework. But you have to think about packaging. One of my author friends did a spiritual deck, and it turned out really nice. She had them shrink wrapped by the local printer. But you have to think, well, when the buyer opens the card deck, now there's nothing holding the cards together, or how do you store the cards now that they're loose? So she had to concoct some craft store baggy boxing type of thing to use. So that escalated her cost even more. So look for those suppliers that will offer boxing. Some of them may offer a clear box, it's sort of a standard plastic kind of box. Others will do a completely printed box, custom. Again, every time you do something custom, the price keeps going higher. And you're thinking, well, why is it this way? I can go to a Barnes and Noble or even Amazon. I can buy one of those special inspirational or educational card decks, and it's only 20 bucks. How do they do that? Well, you have to remember that these publishers who are selling through Barnes and Noble and those types of stores or retail, they are buying in huge quantities. So they get the benefits of volume and scale. So your price just to print it yourself could be 20 bucks. And then you have to add some profit in there because to run your business and to sell this isn't free, remember? So the dollars just keep rolling on. The other thing with card decks is that there's distribution issues. You can sell it on your own, on your website, but as I keep harping about in other videos and blog posts, you are then responsible for the shipping, for the logistics, for returns, for taxes, income taxes, and sales taxes. Some people will go through fulfillment. You can go through fulfillment by Amazon with this. It would not be a book. It might be considered a book because it is a published item, but more than likely, it's probably going to fall under fulfillment by Amazon. And do some profit and loss analysis yourself first. So now, as we're talking about a custom card deck, it's kind of like a publication, but kind of not. Does it need an ISBN number? Well, playing cards, custom tarot decks are generally not eligible. But sometimes educational things like flashcards could be. So it'll depend on your particular deck. So there's really no standard for that. So you're going to have to check with R.R. Bowker if you're in the United States, or whatever the registrar is for ISBNs in your country, to see what the rules are on ISBN numbers. How are you going to market this deck? Granted, it's a great add-on buy, especially if you're doing public speaking and people want to buy something, a souvenir, a memento of their experience listening to your presentation. So back of the room sales, yeah, they're great for that. However, again, we have this direct to sales customer problem. Sales taxes, logistics, how many are you going to print? How many are you going to bring with you? And you want to also promote it on social media, maybe in your other books as a companion to the current book that the reader is reading. That's also a possibility. But again, I think that custom card decks are a massive expense. And I'm telling you this as someone who has sold custom printed products for over 17 years, and as someone who understands self-publishing and printing and all of those things. Personally, I've thought about it. I think it's a cool idea, and I quickly decided against it because of the expense. So if you're going to do this because it's really aligned with your marketing, your brand, the message you want to share, just be very cautious and do the numbers before you ever dive in. So I hope you have found this helpful, and if you did, please rate, review, and subscribe to The Heidi Thorne Show on whatever podcast platform you like to use. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Podbean. If you like the video version better, I'm on YouTube. You just have to search for my Heidi Thorne YouTube channel, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that you get an alert when a new video is available. Please share either the podcast or the video with your friends on social media. And if you want to see my self-published books, not my card decks because I don't have any, I'm on Amazon, Audible, and Apple Books. You just have to search for my Heidi Thorne author page and you'll find a list of all the publications there. If you'd like to connect with me, my website is very simply HeidiThorne.com. Thank you so much for listening and for your support. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the next episode, and in the meantime, have a great day.